You want to know how bad it got? One morning I stepped outside and found a giant red sticker plastered across my mailbox. Violation. Non-compliant structure. Replace immediately or face daily fines. And standing there, arms folded like she'd just won the lottery, was Cheryl. Our HOA president, our self-appointed dictator, our very own Karen. She tilted her chin, pearls glinting in the sun, and said, "David, rules are rules. That box goes, or you do." That's the moment I knew this wasn't about mail. It was about power, and Cheryl was drunk on it, but she had no idea who was about to step into the fight. The United States Postal Service. My name's David. I'm just a normal guy. Work from home. Grill on weekends. Thought buying a house in Maplewood Estates meant peace and quiet. When my wife and I moved in, the lawns looked perfect. Kids rode bikes, neighbors waved. But what nobody told me was this. Every wave came with eyes glancing nervously over their shoulders. Because Cheryl was always watching. She ran the HOA like a courtroom. She carried HOA bylaws in her purse like a sheriff's badge. And she made it clear from the very first week. We were all on trial. At first, I tried to ignore her. Her little notes about trash cans left visible too long, or grass height exceeding 3 inches. But then she turned her sights on me. And things escalated. It started small. One evening, I parked my truck in my driveway. The next morning, notice on the door. Improper vehicle placement. I shook my head. Seriously? Then she slapped another one on me for a stain on the driveway. It wasn't a stain. It was a shadow from the tree. By the third notice, I realized she wasn't enforcing rules. She was targeting me. And just like that, I became her favorite project. The breaking point came 2 months later. I came home from work and there she was, not on the sidewalk, not across the street, but crouched right in front of my mailbox. She was circling it, inspecting it like she was a detective at a crime scene. I rolled down the window. "Cheryl, what are you doing?" She straightened, eyes sharp, pearls bouncing against her chest as she shook her head. "Your mailbox is in violation." I laughed. "Violation?" "It's the exact same one the post office put in." She wagged a manicured finger. "That may be. But Maplewood Estates requires beige mailboxes with gold numbering. Yours is black. That's unacceptable." I frowned. "It's federal property. You can't regulate a mailbox." Her smile turned razor sharp. "Oh, David, you'll learn. Everything in this neighborhood goes through me." She shoved a letter into my hand. 30 days to replace it, or fines begin. Then she walked away like she'd just delivered a death sentence. I thought maybe she'd calm down. I was wrong. The next week, I caught her taking photos of the mailbox. The week after, she left a note that said, "Mailbox damage. Hazard to community aesthetics." I showed my wife. "Damage? It's brand new." Then the red sticker appeared. Bold, aggressive, impossible to ignore. That night, I couldn't sleep. It wasn't about a box anymore. It was about principle. She wanted to control me. And I wasn't going to let her. I wasn't the only one. My cousin Tom lived down the street. He once got fined for having a basketball hoop. Mrs. Whitaker, an older widow, told me Cheryl measured her grass with a ruler and fined her $50 for being half an inch too tall. And Samantha, a single mom, whispered that Cheryl once yelled at her kids for riding scooters too loudly. It wasn't just me. It was everyone. But they were too afraid to fight back. Because Cheryl thrived on intimidation. That's when I decided, if nobody else was willing, I'd stand up. The next morning, I walked straight up to Cheryl's house, knocked on her door. She opened it slowly, lips already pursed. Well, decided to replace that box yet? I forced a calm smile. Actually, no, because you don't have jurisdiction over federal property. Her nostrils flared. Excuse me? I leaned closer. Mailboxes are regulated by the USPS, not the HOA, meaning you can't touch mine. Her face darkened. You think the post office will back you up? David, I am Maplewood Estates, and in this community, my word is law. She slammed the door in my face. I walked away, hands shaking, not with fear, with determination, because I knew something she didn't. That night I dug deep. HOA bylaws, USPS regulations, federal code. And there it was, plain as day. Mailboxes are federal jurisdiction. Tampering is a federal crime. Which meant every time Cheryl slapped a sticker on my box, she wasn't just being petty. She was breaking the law, and I had proof. A week later, it got worse. I came home early, and there she was again. This time, she wasn't just inspecting the box. She had a can of beige spray paint, and she was shaking it. Cheryl, I barked. She jumped, then tried to play it off. I'm helping you. Matching it to the neighborhood, I stormed over. That's vandalism. That's a federal mailbox. Her eyes glinted with malice. You can call it whatever you want. I call it community standards. She raised the can. And that's when I pulled out my phone. Recording. Go ahead, Cheryl. Paint it. Let's see how the post office feels about that. Her hand froze. Her smile faltered. For the first time, she looked rattled. That night, I put all my evidence in one folder. Photos, video, audio of Cheryl saying, "Everything in this neighborhood goes through me." I labeled it receipts because I knew the next HOA meeting was coming. And when it did, I'd be ready. But Cheryl wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The morning of the meeting, I stepped outside and froze. My mailbox door was hanging open. Mail scattered across the street. Letters ripped, torn, some missing entirely. And on the post, taped in bold red letters, was a new notice. Mailbox removal ordered. Final warning. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just HOA bullying anymore. Tampering with mail was a federal offense. And Cheryl had just crossed a line even she couldn't cover up. That evening I made a call. Not to the HOA, not to my neighbors, but to the postmaster himself. And when I told him what happened, he didn't laugh. He didn't brush it off. He said, "Sir, tampering with a mailbox is a federal matter. We'll handle it." I hung up, heart racing, because I knew Cheryl was about to learn something the hard way. You don't mess with the United States Postal Service. When I hung up the phone with the postmaster, my hands were still shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline, because Cheryl had finally gone too far. She didn't just slap a sticker on my mailbox. She tore it open, ripped my mail, scattered it across the street like confetti. That wasn't just petty, that was federal. And the postmaster didn't sound like someone who brushed things off. He sounded serious, determined, like a storm was coming, building the case. But I knew better than to sit back and wait. If I was going to bring Cheryl down, I needed to be ready. So I got to work. I gathered every letter, every notice she'd left, the red sticker, the photographs I'd snapped of her inspecting the mailbox like a hawk, the video of her holding that beige spray paint. Then I pulled the security camera footage. There it was, clear as day. Cheryl opening my mailbox, stuffing in her violation notice, and tugging out letters that didn't belong to her. Tampering caught on tape. I labeled the folder Receipts 2.0 because this wasn't just HOA harassment anymore. This was a crime. Word spread fast. Linda, the widow down the street, knocked on my door one evening. Her voice trembled. She took my mail once too. A birthday card from my granddaughter. I thought I'd lost it. Then weeks later, Cheryl mentioned what was inside. Word for word, she read it. My blood boiled. Then came Tom. She fined me for unauthorized flyers, when my kids' school sent home fundraiser letters, said I wasn't allowed to keep them in the box. And Samantha. She yelled at my son for checking the mailbox without me. Said only adults should handle community property. Community property. That's what she called it. Not federal property. Not private delivery of community property. As if she owned the U.S. mail. That's when I realized this wasn't just me. She'd been terrorizing everyone. A week later it came. A letter. From the United States Postal Inspection Service. Stamped official. Heavy in my hands. It said, "Formal investigation has begun into mail tampering and harassment at Maplewood Estates. All relevant parties will be contacted." Cheryl had no idea, but her world was about to collapse. The timing couldn't have been better. Another HOA meeting was scheduled that Friday night. I walked in with my laptop bag. Neighbors trailed behind me, whispers buzzing. And there she was, Cheryl, front and center. Silk scarf around her shoulders, hair sprayed into place, her lips curled into that smug little smile. Like she was untouchable. The meeting started with landscaping talk, pool maintenance, the usual filler. Then Cheryl cleared her throat. There remains one issue of non-compliance in this community. The mailbox at 114 Maplewood gasps, murmurs. She continued, "The board has issued multiple warnings. Yet the homeowner refuses to replace it with the approved style. At this point, we must escalate fines and consider legal action." She was doubling down, even now. That was her mistake. My turn. I stood, calm, steady, laptop in hand. "Actually, Cheryl," I said, "there's something the neighborhood needs to see." Her eyes narrowed. "What are you—" I clicked play. The screen lit up with footage of Cheryl, crouched at my mailbox, spray can in hand. Gasps filled the room. Then another clip, her prying open the door, sliding mail out. Silence, thick, heavy. I turned to the crowd. This isn't about rules. This is about power. She's been tampering with federal property. That's a crime. Cheryl's face drained of color. She slammed her fist on the table. "This is slander," she snapped. "Those videos are taken out of context. The HOA has full authority to regulate mailboxes." I shook my head. "No, it doesn't. Mailboxes fall under federal jurisdiction, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service is already investigating." Gasps again, people whispering. Mr. Brooks, the retired lawyer, stood. "Cheryl, you've overstepped. This isn't enforcement. This is criminal behavior. You've trespassed. You've tampered with mail. That's not just against the bylaws. That's against the law." Cheryl's lips trembled. She tried to regain composure. "This is ridiculous. Nobody will believe." And that's when the door opened. Two men walked in, dark suits, badges. United States Postal Inspection Service, one announced. Is Cheryl Ann Davenport present? The room froze. Cheryl's face went white. I'm conducting a meeting, she stammered. The agent held up a folder. We've received multiple reports of mail tampering, harassment, and abuse of authority. You'll need to come with us. The neighbors gasped. Some clapped. Others whispered prayers of thanks. Cheryl tried to grab her purse, tried to argue, but the agent's voice cut her down. Ma'am, tampering with mail is a federal offense. You have the right to remain silent. And just like that, our HOA tyrant was led out in handcuffs. The room erupted. Linda cried tears of relief. Tom hugged me. Samantha whispered, "Finally." For the first time since moving in, the neighborhood felt free. The board dissolved. A new election was held. Real people, honest people, no more fines, no more intimidation. And my mailbox? Still standing, black, solid, untouched. Weeks later, I stood at the curb, mail in hand. The breeze was light, kids rode scooters down the street. Neighbors waved, this time without fear. And I thought about Cheryl, the woman who thought she could control everything, who tried to turn a neighborhood into her kingdom. She learned the hard way. You can bully neighbors, you can bend HOA rules, but the moment you mess with federal law, the Postmaster has other plans. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss what's coming next. Drop your thoughts in the comments.